And we are Velocities of Music. Today we're going to do a request. There's not a lot of 2011 albums that have come out yet, so to finish our set we got 4 kind of pseudo requests. This one is an official request from the Department of Eagles called The Cold Nose. This is a big album. Let's just say it's a big album. But Tom, why don't you just give him some backdrop?
Okay, well, this is actually kind of, not like a side project, but kind of before Grizzly Bear was really getting big. Daniel Rossen of Grizzly Bear, this was what he was doing. And it was just kind of like, while he was in college, he happened to be roommates with Chris Taylor, of also Grizzly Bear, who ended up doing some production stuff with him on this Department of Eagles project. And Daniel Rossen said, you know, he didn't really take this stuff too seriously. He was just kind of fooling around, coming up with ideas, and you know, by himself. And then Chris Taylor kind of got inducted into Grizzly Bear, and then he did. And now, so looking back on this, it's a very different experience. And it almost makes sense, that attitude that he has about it, because it's not very focused.
It has an unfinished, underproduced vibe.
Yes, it very much does. He kind of said that they were almost not quite mocking, but just kind of playing around with kind of some trip hop sounds, but doing it in a lo-fi, very, you know, bedroom kind of manner. And that's exactly what this is. I mean, it's good, but it's not, to me, it's not incredible. I think that in order for this to really be incredible, it would take a lot more focus. And a little bit more of an even ratio between the songs that are kind of like abstract collage pieces and actual songs. I mean, there's a couple songs on here, Sailing the Night and The Horse You Ride, tracks 2 and 12, that to me, like, I feel like they could be taken off some newer Radiohead albums. Like, I mentioned Hail to the Thief, Jake says In Rainbows, and that's exactly it, you know, that kind of 2000s, mid-2000s Radiohead sound. But then a lot of this stuff is just kind of abstract, kind of, you know,
sample based.
Yeah, Flying Lotus, the books, with weird samples, and
I get some Gorillaz in there too.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And it's kind of a weird mix because, yeah, Tom's right. You have these songs on here that are very, you know, some of the songs are actual songs where they have structures and hooks and things like that, and then some of those are just these abstract pieces where they're just mixing songs together and just doing these little sample-based, you know, abstractions that really are kind of cool and intuitive as far as just, you know, just listening to them and then getting the mood vibe from them, and it's a really fun experience. And how it all rolls together as an album is also, I feel, kind of interesting. Now, my experience with this, Tom, and I don't know if you felt similar, and you folks out there, if you felt something similar, I want to know. I'm interested because it was kind of hard for me to get into at first, you know, and after like 4 listens, I really wasn't into it. And it wasn't. I started getting it a little bit more as time went on, but then I'm still not there yet. And there's some things I really like about this, and there's some things that just don't sit well with me. I don't feel like it meshes well together as an album, and as Tom mentioned, these are just little ditties that they recorded. That's what it sounds like. It's underproduced. It doesn't have just a general, it's more just a, here's what we are doing, I'm going to throw it all on one disc, and here you go.
You know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like Daniel Rossen's own personal McCartney 1. Yeah. If you ever listen to McCartney's first solo album, it's just kind of these random ditties. And I feel like this is just a modern-day Daniel Rossen of Grizzly Bear version of that.
And I feel like there is some song displacement where some of the songs are just much better than others, and I think that's because there's 2 totally different styles of music being mashed together on one album, which is something that really is very original and you don't hear very often, and some of the mood and atmosphere and the creativity and the X factor associated with that is really cool. But at the same time, you know, it's kind of like an artistic statement without warrant. There's no reason to make said artistic statement, so it kind of loses its value. And you know, that coupled with the whole albumization feel kind of knocks this down a little bit for me, but it's something that I'm still very interested in. And this is something I'll come back to. I'll want to see where this goes. You know, a couple months from now, if I'm still listening to this, maybe I'll make a note on our page or something saying, hey, I ended up loving this. I know that's happened with a couple other albums, Memory Tapes, Sleigh Bells, that happened to me, Nico Case. Yeah. So maybe this will be one of those, and it has the potential to be a grower. So, anything else you want to throw in there?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
This is definitely, if you're a fan of Radiohead, Gorillaz, or any of that kind of house sampling stuff. This is something you should check out. Also, of course, Grizzly Bear. If you're a fan of Grizzly Bear, check this out because it's gonna throw some cool things at you. But what do you guys think? And I'm sitting right now. I'm sitting around a 77 here. I really like it, and I'd probably give it higher if it wasn't for some of the song displacement issues and just kind of underproduction. I'm
gonna go 70 here. Okay. I think it's better than a 60s range album, but just barely. The unfocusedness of this album really does kind of bother me, but at the same time, the tracks and the ideas and just the attitude is very cool.
It's unintentionally unfocused.
Yeah.
You know, and so that kind of is like a double negative, but I don't know. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. I'm really interested to get some feedback on this album and other people's experience with Department of Eagles and how it compares to the more polished Grizzly Bear sound. So leave us a comment, www.velocitiesmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesmusic. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV Moving Music Critique Forward.